Greatest evil a game can commit. It's 25 minutes. I got
There's
time.
an old Greek concept known as xenia, which essentially means
I got time.
hospitality or guest friendship. The idea is,
Another
if you and
Daryl
I were
video.
around in ancient times and you were a stranger at my doorstep asking for a place to lay your head for the night, it would be my responsibility to take you in, feed you, give you a place to bathe, shower, and sleep. Most importantly, for this night at least, we would agree not to do any harm to one another. No killing or stealing while the other slept. Xenia was a massive deal. Following it was a hallowed act and said to be enforced by Zeus himself. The Odyssey speaks of cities burned, wars lost, and people killed for violating Xenia. In fact, the idea was you always showed a warm reception like this because
Kill
any
them.
given guest could be a god in disguise. There are echoes of this in Norse mythology, where Thor was offered hospitality by a farmer and his wife, whom he rewarded handsomely. It's written about in Hebrews. Xenia has even made its way into Disney films. Beauty and the Beast opens with the prince turning away a peasant that then turns out to be a beautiful enchantress. As punishment for his
makes him into a
cruelty,
furry.
she curses him. Xenia manifests in Game of Thrones as the guest right. If you
guest
take someone under your roof as your guest and break bread and salt with them, then regardless of your quarrels, again, for this night at least, you are not to harm a hair on their head. This was a sacred act, and once again, when it's broken at the Red Wedding, it is treated as the breaking of a divine vow.
Lord of Frey committed sacrilege that day. He offered them guest right. Frey will burn in the seventh hell for what he did.
In almost every
Yeah, fuck that guy.
iteration, violating Xenia is seen as one of the biggest acts of dishonor one can commit. Punishable by divine intervention, seen as an unforgivable deed of betrayal, a violation of what separates man from beast, an act of the greatest evil. So what the hell does any of this have to do with video games? After all, games are supposed to try to kill us. That's kind of the point, right? I want my games evil. I'm not looking for respite from the nightmares, Daryl. I want them, and I want them to step on me. I realize this. Games are fiction. Fiction should be frightening and brutal and challenging and engaging and all of those video essay adjectives. But I think because that is so often the point of them, it's easy to grow desensitized to the thrill of it all, and it becomes necessary for games to find new ways to keep you on guard,
stupid
to
mimic.
subvert expectations. But there is one particular way that games do this that is sparingly used. There is a sacred rule that is rarely disturbed, and I think it can best be described as a game violating Xenia, by a game breaking the guest right. And that may sound a little strange. How exactly would a game do this, right? What line should a game never cross? I want to tell you all about it. I've got so many juicy examples, so go grab a snack, get cozy,
I'm
and while
already
you're doing
cozy.
that,
We watched
let me
another one
tell
of
you
your
about
videos.
today's sponsor.
No!
RGX.
He's got the-
Jokes
he's
on
got the-
news, later
he's got
especially
the
you'll find
ad.
a mod which just
Ooh, RGX. Ooh, this shit made my fucking CPU go to the roof.
setting-
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's really good. Use his code.
There's nothing quite as relaxing in a video game as hearing a
Ooh.
song like this, arriving in a safe room after
Biohazard?
a
No,
hellish
yeah, it is
romp in
Biohazard.
one of the many Resident Evil games.
So excited to
There's
play
no
this game.
sigh of relief in gaming quite like the one you release when you discover a bonfire or a save station or a bench when you are desperately looking for a break from a long, arduous stretch of combat. Checkpoints are a necessary break from the tension that your adventure has placed on your shoulders, and they serve many purposes outside of saving. A chance to rebalance the difficulty with upgrades and stat increases. They help steady the pacing of your adventure. They keep the game from becoming too demanding or excessive. And in many ways, they are cozy because they're the one place where you can be assured that you are okay. The game won't ask anything of you here. Sit and rest. Be our guest. This is what almost all games teach us, that checkpoints and save stations and safe rooms are safe, which is what makes it so unsettling when one is anything other than that. In Final Fantasy VII, when you're trying to recruit Yuffie, you kind of have to hunt her down like a Pokemon, right? And once you do find her and catch her, you're presented with this screen. You can run over and talk with her, where you'll have to answer her questions correctly in order to get her to join your team, or to ensure you don't have to hunt her down again, you can go activate this save point first. Obviously, the latter makes the most sense, so you do it, and then... Wait, why is the save option grayed out? motherfucker. Now this is a
Okay.
cute little moment. It isn't scary or brutal or stupidly
These
punishing, but it
motherfuckers.
is a complete shock if you fall for it. Since the dawn of the console era, saving your game and replenishing your health at a save station has been a given. It is an established enforced rule, not between the character and the artificial world, but between the cartridge and the human. An enemy or an obstacle is there to provide an in-game challenge, but checkpoints are there to provide a real-life guarantee that when you reach them and hear a noise like this, if anything else happens, you die in the game, your power goes out, your toddler walks over and presses the off switch, Yuffie runs away, you can at least rest easy that you'll be able to pick up from here.
Yeah.
But at this moment, an in-game entity has used the save point, a human tool
Why would
to
they do
record
that?
progress, as a chance to escape. It's an uncanny
mean.
blurring of the lines between what a game has taught you is safe and what is not. It's one thing to subvert expectations with a genre, an enemy, a plot device, a decision, or a puzzle, but for a checkpoint to be anything other than a pause and a promise of saved progress is indecent. A low blow, a break of trust, a break of Xenia.
Yeah.
Although cheeky and mischievous here, you can imagine how other games could potentially do this for much more malicious purposes. And let me assure you, other games have. If you stumble upon this safe room in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you'll notice that something seems off. Typically, its save points are gold. This one is purple. But if you happen to miss that and carelessly save out of habit, it instead transports you to a nightmare sequence where Alucard must face a vision of his mother, culminating in a boss fight. We could have gotten from exploring to this dream sequence in plenty of ways. Maybe a door, a particular attack, a switch. But by specifically placing it in a well-established place of rest, it immediately amplifies the urgency and unease of this segment. Now, of course, you could have seen the purple and then said, that ain't right, and then left and found this actual save point down the hall. But let's say you see a save point that is actually pretty inconspicuous, and then it... Not only do checkpoints like this act as a catalyst for the surprise they're hiding, they teach you that a place you've long associated with safety is now potentially something else entirely. This kind of thing can suddenly happen. All future relief upon spotting new checkpoints is met with an asterisk, a second guessing of what is truly safe. If you're fighting this boss in Death's Door, you'll notice that when he hops over to this platform, he pauses, starts spitting fireballs, and after the sixth one, he dives in and swings at you. Once you've seen this, the game has taught you what to do here, so when he jumps over again, you might try shooting him while he pauses. He does it once more, you go to shoot, and then... This is what many people call a mix, when a game shows you that you have to be expecting more than one possible outcome for a given attack or cue. If you're playing Street Fighter and Cammy does this, it suddenly becomes a pop quiz because she can grab you, kick you, really kick you, or just drop and block, which leaves you guessing, trying not to overcommit with the heavy.
I can't do fighting games, bro. I can't.
Giant AoE one. The mix has been around since you had the option to pick paper, rock, or scissors, and you see it not just in combat, but in many places in video games. Except save points. Only one outcome exists here. But when a game shows you that something else can happen at them, it adds a mental stack to the one place you thought was a reprieve. Suddenly you always have to be prepared, which partially deflates the hope you feel when you approach them moving forward. In most games, treasure chests are an exciting thing because for the longest time, they were considered to be, a treasure, a happy find. But now, with the popularization of mimics and traps, suddenly even those have a mix and must be approached carefully. To do this to a checkpoint is diabolical because even if it is only a one-time thing, that uncertainty can linger. And odds are you've seen these fake checkpoints around at least once before. Maybe it was the crystal bugs in Final Fantasy XII that look exactly like save points, but attack you and must be defeated before they turn back into actual save
There's a
crystals.
Plimbo.
Maybe it was the fake
Plumbo.
checkpoints in Chrono Trigger that split into 3 when you touch them and playfully dance around you, almost mocking you. There's a nefarious save point in I Want to Be the Guy that attacks you when you try to interact with it.
What is
And
this
of course,
game?
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the distant village encounter in Hollow Knight, which is sort of the epitome of violating Xenia, because when you arrive after an arduous drag through the
never show up
spider-infested deep nest, these villagers welcome you warmly. The whole thing is almost a little unsettling because they aren't speaking like normal NPCs. There is no flavor text or conversation, but instead a quiet demand disguised as an invitation. Sit. And because benches have been a godsend through your entire journey, naturally that's what you'll do. Only
Like
then
an
to find
idiot.
yourself trapped as the game doesn't save, your health isn't replenished, and the entire room creeps towards you as the screen fades to black. These instances all step on that promise of safety that so many games have established, all for the sake of toying with you and adding tension in the one place that is supposed to be your rest from tension. It is cruel, but it is most certainly a great way to subvert expectations and create the sensation that you are never truly safe.
I love it.
Which a great
So
many
great.
players quite fancy,
So fun.
actually. Some members of the FromSoft fanbase have even drafted concept art for bonfire mimics,
Oh,
fake bonfires that when approached
Yeah.
become this and attack you.
Totally do
Fun.
that. So
There's a big
fun.
part of me that, despite how remarkably uncool this treacherous checkpoint trope is, can't help but find myself grinning at the prospect of more games doing this. In fact, it's kind of incredible to me that despite how critical safe rooms are at easing the unease in Resident Evil, that the series has never made use of an unsafe safe room. At least according to my research. Research? What am I, Dorothy Ann from the Magic School Bus?
According to my research,
Research. Also, if
What
I'm
a-
wrong, please don't be shy about shitting on me down below. These games, like many titles, refuse to break Xenia. They treat their safe rooms with sanctity. In fact, Resi music composer Akiyuki Morimoto emphasized here that they want safe rooms to not just be a relief, but also memorable. To them, it's critical for pacing that the player, 1,
Interesting.
have this break, and 2, promptly know that it is in fact
They're totally gonna break that in 9, by the way. There's gonna be
break
some
signaled
room
by a particular
just
song. Even going as far in
mess
Resi
you
7 as recording the safe
Fucks
room
you
theme
up.
you're hearing right now on a tape recorder so it would meld naturally with the dated analog electronics you'd find in the Baker residence. There is a clear commitment for these developers and many others in making these sacred places honorable and untarnished. To uproot a checkpoint like this would be to undermine all of the others in the game, which is not
What
what
the
developers
fuck?
generally want if they
fuck?
plan to create a
I was not
fair,
expecting
balanced,
that.
and well-paced experience. This is probably why you don't see a ton of these in games, and if you do, it's reasonable. There is an especially silly example that's so old I couldn't even find footage for, but it's a Dutch game called Eindaloos. One maze
Dude,
has
what
a
are these
safe point that
fucking,
works normally,
like,
but is placed behind
crazy
a one-way
bulls?
barrier that can only be entered from the outside. If you died and respawned here, you would be trapped and have to start the game all over again, which is a betrayal of the same magnitude of the Red Wedding. But although most of our previous examples today are spooky and mischievous, they are never this punishing.
Yeah.
They have tells. You kind of know you're walking into something strange from the outset, and even if not, you aren't whipped mercilessly for not noticing. You're only toyed with. It is simply a sneaky little way to keep you on your toes. Or in the case of the final bonfire in Dark Souls, gives you a painful metaphor of complacency by locking you into an ending for doing something that feels normal. There are layers to this, that's a whole other video. But again, these are all one-time trickery-dickery simple gimmicks. But these last two
Trickery
examples
what?
are not just one-time things. Lisa the Painful is a game that does not really give a damn about you. Combat is immediately an uphill battle. The story is immediately dark. It is simultaneously quirky and inhumane. And because both combat and random events are rather punishing, healing up and restoring
is
your
this
SP is
game?
going to be critical. Resting in this game works as follows. If you decide to stay at a campfire, any of the following things can happen. An item is stolen from you, money is stolen from you, a spider afflicts you with poison, or even deep poison. You find a note stating that a party member has been kidnapped by a gang. You get hit in the head with a bat, permanently lowering your SP and luck by 10. A party member decides to leave your party, permanently. A random guy farts on you.
What?
No negative effects. Being farted on is a good outcome here. Let that sink in. This is only a handful of the risks that come with trying to rest, but there are ways to avoid these things happening. You have the option to stay at an inn or a tent with someone watching over you if you can find them, but of course you'll have to pay for the security, which adds another wrinkle to survival. And there are numerous other factors at play. Some campsites have unique events, some are safer to rest at than others. But what this does is create an experience that is less predicated on the player's right to a reprieve and instead illustrates a world where the line between man and beast has become irreversibly smudged. It is not always safe to rest. There is rarely any Xenia observed here. People plunder and exploit one another like animals. This is an indecent world, and that is reflected in how it treats the player as well. And there's only one game that I could find that dares to take this a step further, because as barbaric as Lisa the Painful is, you still have the luxury of save crows. These will, without fail, save your game, even if they are few and far between. Saving and resting are separate acts here, so although your ability to rest and heal up often comes with a potential risk, saving is offered the sanctity of no side effects. But our final example offers no such promise. Fear and Hunger is a game that I'm just gonna break character here real quick. What the fuck is this game, man? Why are we playing this? I downloaded this just for this video. What are we doing here? Fear and Hunger is a game that does not give a damn about
I've heard
you.
good things
No,
about
that
this
would be
game.
Apathy. It actively wants to see you suffer. For those of you that haven't played or haven't seen that eye patch wolf video, this is a roguelike style RPG
Wait, I kinda
that
wanna
will
watch that video.
violently projectile vomit in your face if you treat it like any other turn-based RPG. Battles do not give experience. Many enemies have bullshit coin flip insta-kills. There are random events that will almost
lovely.
certainly derail your run. Many monsters have big honkin' Pringles can dicks. You can get poisoned. You can starve to death. You can die of infection. You can lose multiple
just had his
limbs and
pee-pee
keep
out.
going if you find a way to survive. You can have rectal bleeding. And as you can see based on the gameplay I'm showing you, this is a wildly upsetting location to occupy.
this game?
Though despite its roguelike randomization, you actually do have a few chances to save your game. There is a secret way that I'll not spoil for you, but the main way is to find a bed and rest. Let's take a poll. Do you think these beds will respect and uphold Xenia?
No.
Let's find out.
Oh, lovely.
Maybe he's just bringing me a blanket. Fear and Hunger does not guarantee you get to save if you find a bed. I believe that there are 2 locations that are technically safe the first time you use them, but after that, and for any other bed you find, you must successfully call a coin flip to sleep uninterrupted
Oh,
and
sheesh.
actually save your game. It is extraordinarily merciless because while many safe rooms offer a true respite at their discovery, finding a bed in Fear and Hunger almost makes dread bubble up from deep inside you because you could have a chance to save your game, but you might also be met with a hyper-stressful ambush in the dead of night
Sick.
that could completely devour all progress back to the last
Sick,
time you
he's got his
saved.
dick
And
out.
this isn't a 50-50 mix, by the way. There is a chance that a handful of other things might happen. Let's say you lose the coin flip, but there are no enemies in the area. Well, your game doesn't save, but it's okay because you'll just try again. Going back out there will not make me sleepier, but that's exactly what you'll have to do. Go walk off the adrenaline, which only puts you more at risk and wastes valuable time and resources keeping yourself and your party fed. Let's say you fail the flip and manage to defeat the intruder. That's wonderful, but now look at all the items and meter you've had to waste to survive. There is also a chance that something else can happen, like this guy snatching you away in your sleep and then slowly dismembering you, instantly ending your run. Every shred of decency that a video game typically affords you is completely stripped away from you in Fear and Hunger. You aren't just walking on eggshells at the possibility of a checkpoint breaking Xenia. Xenia simply does not
Can you win
exist
this
here.
game?
Hospitality and civility is what separates us from wretched beasts, which is precisely why it has absolutely no place in this game. The treacherous checkpoint is a well of untapped potential. I mean, imagine the possibilities of this setup. Picture walking into a safe room in Resident Evil, being met with that ambient melody, only to notice that certain notes are
I just realized
out of
I'm still in
tune.
Minecraft.
Suddenly you
Llama.
find yourself ambushed. Imagine an enemy taking advantage of your time in a save menu by ripping you out of it and initiating a fight. Ideas abound when you consider how off guard and unsettled this would make the player both in that moment and moving forward. But I hesitate to even suggest that because I would hate for this to become the new norm. As cool as treasure chest mimics are as a premise, I feel like I see them everywhere now. Once upon a time, treasure chests used to be an exciting find for me, but nowadays they just immediately put me on guard. They've completely transformed into a decision or an investigation instead of a prize, and that's fine. People enjoy that, but is that really what we want to suddenly see in checkpoints? Do we really want the idea of mimic bonfires and benches to become as popular as the stamina meter or the open world tower? Ultimately, it is a powerful tool because it completely subverts what thousands of titles have established over the years. It violates a sacred age-old tradition that has lasted through multiple generations of gamers, every bit as respected and honored as you'd imagine the guest right is. It is a common decency to protect safe rooms and keep the norm for them to be safe, which I think is why I struggled to find many examples for this video. This is simply a line the developers do not like to cross, and even if they do, they usually only dangle a toe over it for a little fun. Do these Xenia-breaking checkpoints have a place? Yes, but not every game wants to be Lisa the Painful. Not every game wants to be Fear and Hunger. Not every game wants to be the Red Wedding. Video games can go to great lengths to be disgusting, cruel, unsightly, provocative, and stirring, but to not respect Xenia is, in my opinion, the greatest evil a game can commit.
Whoa, he said the name of the title!
Hey there, before you go, quick update for all of the regulars here. I will be taking a month off. There will be no October video. The reason is twofold. One, I'm moving.
This was posted a year ago.
I have something big and special planned for November, and it just made sense to give myself a little more time to work on it. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.
No, what do
if you
you
enjoyed this,
mean?
don't
Where are
be
you
afraid to like the
going?
video
Where are
and
you
subscribe.
going, Mr.
Neither
Daryl?
of those buttons will attack you.
That's
and if
funny.
you
It's a good video. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't think every game should necessarily employ the breaking of the most sacred rule. But it is fun when some of them do. I think it really matters the atmosphere of your game. It works in certain games, but if you do that shit in Animal Crossing, I feel like that wouldn't really work, you know? I'm gonna save an Animal Crossing and it's just like, no.